Hello everyone, we are live and the biggest news for me right now is for Manchester United is that Ralf is not happy with Ronaldo. There have been news coming out from a few sources now that Ralf has his doubts about Ronaldo, especially in the long term in the sense for the next year and the year after. And to be honest, I don't think there's much to worry about this in there because uh, for the time being, it just looks like that United is not going to get top four as well. And if we do not get top four, then it's I think it's very obvious that Ronaldo is not going to want to stay here as well. But it's worrying with the fact that there's a lot of the season to go. We are getting towards a very competitive end of the Premier League, especially with the kind of fixtures that we have now, also considering the fact that there are a lot of people who are now considering Manchester United to be out of the top four race. Personally, following United down the years and the decline of Arsenal, it'll be very embarrassing if we lose the top four race to Arsenal because if the beginning of the season it just felt like Arsenal were heading nowhere and we were going to be challenging for the for the fourth spot, and even if we do good we could even challenge for the third spot. But as it has turned out, it's just the beginning of March and there are a lot of people who are counting us out for the top four race, and it's very embarrassing. It's also embarrassing that we have just won four of our last 10 games. The fact that the fixtures that are coming up now, even if you remove the fixture that we have against Atletico, because that is in the Champions League, I don't think we'll do much, in the Champions League with the kind of performances that we are putting up. But even in the Premier League, you look at the next five set of fixtures that we have: Manchester City away from home, then Spurs at home, Liverpool away from home, Leicester at home, and Everton away from home, if I'm not wrong. So on paper, these fixtures are very difficult, and especially the fixtures, coming in March and then starting of April, and then towards the end of April, we face Arsenal as well. In these next five, I think the best that United can do or should do, they must do, is to get at least 10 points, and three out of those 10 have to come from that Spurs game. That Spurs game is absolutely vital for a time being. When we won against Leeds and Spurs lost their game against Burnley, it felt like it's a two-horse race now. The fourth spot, it'll be between Arsenal and Manchester United. But the fact that we have drawn against Watford and Spurs won against Leeds as well. Uh, yeah, I think if we are in the race for top four, Spurs they have an equal chance. I think they have got a very good manager in Antonio Conte. Obviously, we know that they do have the players to get onto a run of uh, good wins and then achieve top four. But from our end, our best player Ronaldo is not firing at all. He's been in terrible form. I have always backed Ronaldo. I don't think he's a player you can count out at any point in time, at any point in the season. He's someone who always comes up top, but the age factor is a big thing. Even with the fitness of Ronaldo, he's 37 years old. I don't think that we can rely on him to score all the goals. We have to have players come in and pitch in with goals, especially Bruno Fernandes. He's not been great as well. He's been creating chances, but he's also failed to convert a lot of chances as well. We need Rashford to pick up his game as well. He needs to come up with the goals. We just cannot rely on a 37-year Ronaldo to continue to score goals for us, continue to play every single game. There's so many games he has played already, and he couldn't even be rested against Watford. He had to play the entire 90 minutes, and then we have four very very difficult fixtures coming up in March, and then in April we have that important game against Arsenal. I don't know where Ronaldo gets his rest, and if he does not get that rest, I'm a little worried if he will pick up his form, if he'll start to score goals again. He's just scored one in his last 10 games, and just because of this, I think there's a atmosphere now where everybody is looking to replace Ronaldo, from the journalist, from ex-players, from pundits, and now there's news coming out that even Ralf is looking to replace him. There are a lot of options that are being considered. Lewandowski, his contract situation is stirring up a little, and everybody has eyes on it. A name that has been, attached to Manchester United in the last day, it's Victor Osimhen, if I'm not getting his name wrong, from Napoli. You'll remember that Osimhen from Napoli. You'll remember that at least. Young striker. He's very good. I saw him against the Barcelona, and I won't say he's world class, but he's on his way there. Personally, I think if we do get top four and Ronaldo decides to stay here, then it makes a lot of sense to sign a young striker. But if Ronaldo decides that he will leave Manchester United at the end of the season, I don't think it'll be a good idea to go for a very very young striker because yes, I understand that we just cannot sign a player for the next year or so. We have to look at a period of 6, 7, 10 years possibly. We have to look into the future, but we have to look into the recent games as well. Uh, you you cannot decide to keep Cavani for one more year or keep Martial for one more year and then sign a very young striker. You look at the situation with Leicester. Leicester had Jamie Vardy, obviously, a striker who's done immensely well for them, in the last so many years. And then they brought in Patson Daka, a very, very good young striker with a lot of potential. It was working out well when Vardy was playing. Vardy was playing some important games. He was pitching in with goals. And then Patson Daka, a young talent, was coming up clutch in some important games as well. But as soon as Jamie Vardy gets injured, Patson Daka, it's clearly evident that he's very young and he is not a striker that you can, rely on in every single game. You cannot rely on him to score in every big moment and score in every, maybe 2 out of 3 matches. It's very difficult to rely on such a young striker, and especially if you want to play him throughout the season. He may come up with important goals, he may come up with at least 10, 15 goals, but if for your main man, for your main striker, you should expect or you want him to get at least 25 to 30 goals in a season. There's something that Ronaldo does. He always does. He may not do it this time around, but if it decides to say, then it'll be a great, a great buy to get a very young striker, a very young, potentially very good striker. There's so many around, and Kunku is there, Osimhen is there. There's Eddie Yemi, who's very young, but he's possibly on his way to Dortmund. There's Jonathan David from Lille as well. So we can go for a striker like that if Ronaldo decides to stay. But if Ronaldo decides to leave, I think we need to get into the market for a striker who will stay there for at least 2, 3, 4 years, and he will come up with important goals and a lot of goals as well. It's not just he should perform in the important games or he should pitch in the goal sometimes, but he needs to perform consistently and score at least 25 to 30 goals throughout the season. That's the kind of striker United would need just in case Ronaldo decides that he's not going to stay another season at Manchester United. Apart from that, there were few ridiculous shouts for De Gea to be replaced. I think that's very stupid. I don't think De Gea has been so bad that he needs to be replaced. Yes, there has always been that question on his distribution, but I don't think it's been so poor that he needs to be replaced immediately. I don't think we play that kind of football where the distribution from goalkeeper is so important, unlike Man City. I think De Gea does a very good job. He saves Manchester United in so many situations, and you can see Edison. If Edison comes to this Manchester United team, he's obviously going to struggle. Yes, he will be great in his distribution. Our fullbacks will enjoy that. Runners like Rashford and Sancho will enjoy it running on the wing. But our defenders would have a nightmare because every time they lose the ball, De Gea, there are so many times when De Gea saves them, but Edison is not that great a shot stopper. And for me personally, at this point in time at Manchester United, we do not need a goalkeeper who can distribute very good. We need a goalkeeper whose shot stopping is absolutely world class, and De Gea is the one for me. About change a position that we need a definite change in is that defensive midfield position. And in fact, I think we can help, we can do good with the change in that entire midfield. Uh, because Pogba, it's a difficult situation with Pogba as well. I think he'll be looking for a move on. He'll be looking to, go into a team that will challenge for the Champions League. I don't think he's won it yet. Yeah, I don't think he's won it yet. While he was at Juventus, I don't think Juventus won it. So he'll be looking to, get a Champions League on his resume as well. So he may probably be leaving. There are few names, that have always been attached with Manchester United. One of them for me is Ruben Neves from Wolves. I think he's a very, very good player, and he's, performed so well at Old Trafford a number of times now over the years. I think he scored at least 2 or 3 goals at Old Trafford as well in his time at Wolves. I just, never understand why the hell do we not go for Neves? Because, he's exactly the type of player that we need, someone who can play